This week on Survivor Island of Photographers, 3 photographers photograph a 30-guest wedding. Who will be voted off the island? Will it be Marshall, who wears a shirt in the swimming pool? Tim, who seduces a young mariachi named Andreas? Or Taylor, who just won't stop photographing clouds? Then, 10 minutes before the ceremony, rain. Find out how it ends on this week's episode of Survivor Island of Photographers. I'm going to Mexico to second shoot a wedding. Tim. Here come Tim. Bienvenido. Welcome to the burrito store. Let's have a celebration.
6 million ways to die. Choose one.
Walk.
I need a burrito.
Walk. Walk.
I need a burrito.
Walk. Walk.
I need a burrito.
Walk. Walk.
Look up to the horizon. Not at me, up there, yeah. That's towards your left. Over at me.
The behind the scenes,
Lower your hand a bit more.
Tim
like this.
and Andreas.
Yeah, holding like a microphone.
It's a great band photo, guys. Tim, I only brought an 85mm lens. Tim, I didn't bring a battery charger. If you haven't guessed it yet, these are a lot of our friends, so a much different wedding day than usual. This is the rehearsal, not the wedding day. Also, I'll be editing all of the images that you're going to see in this video in tomorrow's video, so subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. And then also, they're going to be edited with my new Taylor Jackson Destination Wedding presets. And if you're a Patreon member, you get those. They're included in your Patreon life. And if you're not yet a Patreon member, join up and you can get all of my presets. We'll go over that more tomorrow, though. We'll get back to the wedding right now. There's a photo of Marshall for his mom. She's gonna love it. Stand away from the wet floor. Now go like ankles deep into the hot tub.
Ankle deep?
Yeah, with shoes on. Dive in. That's all I know how to do. Look at how happy you are. Nailed it. These presets are from my new Destination Weddings preset pack. It'll be on Patreon tomorrow. So if you're a Patreon member, you'll get it. I feel like I already said that. Wedding day here in Mexico, and the clouds and the rain is kind of starting to come in. It's supposed to rain all day, which is kind of unfortunate. But we have some good indoor space, and hopefully we can still do the ceremony outside. Thunder rolling in too. Great. Not stressful at all for Hugo, Victoria. I need a burrito.
Walk. Walk.
Today we're joined by Marshall, who's been drinking since 9 a.m.
No, I was juice cleansing at 9 a.m. My gas bill's ready.
Marshall already has a beer.
Oh, it's done.
And they got trapped in the elevator over here.
Yeah, which we...
Maybe a note to all photographers, never take a sketchy elevator in time-sensitive situations.
Tim had to pry this open like he was in Star Trek. Like there was they got attacked.
Very strong.
Worf would do that. We got to the room where the girls are getting ready, but they're not there. So...
It's extra.
Here we are.
It's a nice photo at this side.
Oh, thanks.
I'm gonna take that photo.
Why is that?
Nothing to do with you, Marshall. Do you guys want to get really close together? Do you want to gaze lovingly into one another's eyes? I need a burrito.
Walk. Walk.
Guys, getting ready coverage is usually pretty easy. So there's 3 of us here today because the girls weren't in the room, which makes it very easy. And it was just, usually we just make them do like to get the top half ready and then take it off because there's no sense of them being ready like 3 hours before the ceremony. Destination Wedding pro tip. These are the best spaces to use because they're covered, not too sunny. Good light, good bouncing, direction. Marshall Angus. It's looking like it might rain. One of the things that I struggled with a lot when I was first doing destination weddings was that I thought that everything had to be outside, everything had to be around palm trees and by the ocean, but those are the hardest places to photograph typically, especially in midday. So I really do kind of pre-coach my couples to know that like we're gonna do some photos in covered spaces inside to keep you guys cool before the ceremony so you don't overheat and everybody just doesn't look all sweaty at the actual ceremony, and usually people are into it. Sometimes I still want to do photos out on the beach in the middle of the sun, and you just kind of have to deal and work with kind of what you can, unfortunately. Timothy Musa taking candid photographs of the dress. What is your secret to getting the most candid and natural photographs of shoes, Marshall? Magician. I'm coming over here to get them the perfect cloud to remember your wedding day by. What do you think the perfect cloud is, Marshall? This one? It's a 7 out of 10 cloud, but it's their cloud now. It's something that not a lot of people think about, photographing the clouds and documenting the weather on a wedding day. Here, we're getting into it.
You doing that, ladies, for 5 more seconds?
5 more seconds.
Apparently Tim's also shooting video today. I wasn't told that, so I'm going to shoot some video too and cover in situations like this. So as Victoria is walking up here, this is awesome, but there's a Florida man right there. But yeah, he gone now. As a typical second photographer, usually my role would be to photograph the groom and the groom side of the family. But today I feel like we're kind of all doing each other's jobs since it's such a small group of people. But on a larger wedding, I would definitely be focusing a lot more on Hugo's family as well as just all of his groomsmen. All right, here comes Victoria down the stairs. We have somebody running crowd interference up top, which is critically important to do. Otherwise, that Florida man will try to walk down the aisle behind her and ruin all the photos. So basically what I'm doing is I'm getting a bunch of photos, and then I'm running around here, and I'm actually going to get Hugo's reaction shot on video for Tim to use in his video edit, because he can only really be in so many places at the same time, and he can make a pretty good cohesive video edit with kind of a half-time, quarter-time video shooter as a second, and then also shooting as a main as well. But typically I'd say maybe Tim will probably shoot 170 video clips between like 3 and 10 seconds this wedding day, and I'll probably shoot maybe 25 or 30. This is one of them. Since I didn't know that I was shooting video today, usually I would have brought my 85 Tamron 1.8, but I literally did not bring it on this trip because I thought I was only taking photos. So the best way to stabilize a non-stabilized lens, especially if it's an 85, is to make sure you have 3 points of contact. I use my strap kind of around the back of my arm to give kind of that one really, really solid point of contact. And then I also use my other hand and just kind of brace everything against me. And then typically I'll also have the LCD monitor kind of pressed up against my chest to get as many points of contact as I possibly can. I think everyone overall is like incredibly happy that we're inside in the air conditioning right now because it is hot outside. And well, maybe we could get a few better photos. The guest experience, the experience of everybody here at the wedding would be a lot worse. Currently shooting 200 ISO, 4,000th shutter speed.
How's my hair?
Your hair is great, Tim.
Thanks, man. Not done.
You're not done?
Oh, man. Yeah, look around a bit.
Can you ponder the meaning of life? Have an existential crisis. Pretend you're eating a salmon tartare. Believe that you are the wind. Sounds nice. Here we have a VTech Marshall Angus, angusaudio.com. What are you up to right now?
Helping Andreas not sweat through his shirt. Ooh, nope, can't avoid that now.
Is this Rojas compliant? It's getting a bit misty. Pizza over here. Is it raining? We kind of knew this was going to happen all day. We were watching the weather, and it was kind of the exact ceremony time that looked like it was going to get real wet. So fortunately, we kind of hung out under here. We reset everything up with the single power outlet that was working under here. And then 10 minutes later, it was all good. So hooray.
Get that thing polished.
I'm going to photograph some water. All right, second shooting raindrops with Tim. A summer's meadow breathing deeply. A summer evening eating pizza. That didn't rhyme. Moving into the ceremony. So as I said earlier, like 360 stage, kind of weird, coming down there, turning around this way, and then coming back down the aisle. So it's almost good that we had 3 shooters here. It's also very good that it's a little bit still cloudy and not sunny, because Sunny would have really limited the possibilities that we could have used. And I think that if it was Sunny, it would have been like, just select what the best image is and just sit there and let everybody walk through that image and take their photo. And while there's not a whole lot of variation between the images, it does create a better overall quality of work, I think. And I know, like, when we look back at our wedding images, we don't necessarily need all the variation of all the different people in different spots, like especially coming down the aisle to the ceremony, that just like one kind of documentary style image is totally good enough in this situation. And also try not to fall into the pool, because that's important too. Very much just kind of like on the edge of it, on the wet concrete tile, whatever they have concocted this ground with, it is the slipperiest that I've experienced in quite some time. But yeah, nobody fell in the water, so 10 out of 10. I think this is the better shot from this side. Specifically later on when the bridesmaids come down the aisle, there is one better spot where I'm actually down at the back end of the aisle. Right now I know Tim's rolling video on everybody coming down, and because it is a short aisle, I'm doing the best I can to get as many photos as I can to make sure that he has those in the final gallery. Or maybe Tim's doing photo and video at this exact moment in time. He's holding two cameras at once, 35 on his face, 7200 at his chest. A true wizard, Harry. Maybe I was wrong. I think he was doing that though. Either way, I've got the photos. Marshall, I don't even know where Marshall is. He might be at the bar. He might be getting some ice cream, a hot dog. This is their morning playbook for basketball. So it's funny that it's also their marriage license document holder / podium. I'm just looking for a word that I don't know what that word is. All right, so now Tim is shooting everybody as they're coming down the kind of the pre-aisle, the first of 3 aisles, 4, 5, 6, 7 if you include corners. But I know whenever Victoria is actually about to come down the aisle that Tim is going to want this spot here, because that's a main shooter spot. So at that point, we're going to rotate. Until then, I'm just going to hang out over here with the officiant, trying to stay out of Tim's way. Overall, this is a very, very tight ceremony location for 3 photographers to be at, but I feel like it's almost necessary to get like the best coverage out of this specific environment. It's really quite hard. Very fortunate that it is cloudy though, that makes it a lot easier. Also, I really like when there is a little bit of rain on the ground. It really kind of holds everything together and gives that nice reflection and brings the greens from the trees a little bit more into the actual sidewalk. So anytime that it rains, I have a whole list of positives to be like, this is why rain is good, to hopefully make it a better situation, or at least relieve a little bit of stress from a bride or groom. Another thing that I'm a little bit more relaxed on than I would be on a normal wedding day is just the number of candids of guests that typically I want to make sure that every guest is represented in at least one photo. But with such a small guest count, it's very easy for, like the 3 of us are 10% of the wedding essentially. So it's very easy to make sure that we get all of those images. And we have lots of time and we have lots of good light to get those candids in. So I'm not really rushing too hard pre-ceremony time like I usually would be. You'll usually see me on a 7200, just like getting as many shots as I possibly can. But in this case, a little bit more relaxed. So finally found the angle right here, narrowly avoiding Marshall and Lorena, the wedding planner. But that's kind of the spot. I like the way that the trees are kind of the lines in the background there, as well as all the greenery it brings in. Right now, I'm kind of figuring out what I think Tim's going to want to do. We haven't really talked about it. We don't really plan too much because so much can just change as it begins to happen. Like if we come up with this great plan that I'm going to be on this side, you're going to be on this side, and then Hugo and the guys come down and they go on the left side rather than the right side, it really does change a lot of things up. So we're fortunate that we work so well together and we work so often together that we really do know, usually within a reasonable doubt, what the other person is doing, even if we're not looking at where they actually are. So we don't plan too much going in. Marshall's kind of hanging out back there. So this is a bit of a dance. I want to get out a Marshall shot, but I also want to get out a Tim shot. So I'm pretty much just going to jump in the pool here. I don't actually. So right now I want to get out a Tim shot and I hide there. So I narrowly avoided Marshall's wide shot and Tim shot. So 10 out of 10. Yeah, and maybe we actually needed that basketball playbook with the dry erase markers to run through what we were about to do here. But it all worked out. Tim's a little bit trapped over there right now. I'm happy that I was free from that area, because it did get a pretty tight in there. It's a small space for even this many people, especially with all the AV equipment, because we had to bring it in 'cause the rain. Andreas still soaking wet from the rain. The hardest worker thus far into the wedding. This is all three of us. We all shot photos. Not one of us shot a video of that because we're idiots. In our defense, it did happen very, very, very quickly. And if I would have tried to switch to video mode, I probably would have missed it. So we figured get them to do it here. And then also, they don't know that they're getting a highlight film, so it's a bonus. And also, in the highlight film, I very rarely actually include the entire first kiss, or even pieces of it. Usually it's just them starting to come together, and then some sort of celebration, I think, is kind of the best way it plays. Just like watching people kiss on camera is a bit strange, I think. Here's Marshall looking
A little wet.
so happy with life. I figured that I'd run out here and like kind of head out the wedding party, but they kind of stopped and waited. And now Tim's in the bushes trying to hide out of my frame, just making it worse off to the right there. Even better. It's all right though, because fortunately, like, we're all friends, so it's reasonable to have each other in the actual wedding photos. It's not a big deal. Like usually on with a couple that I didn't know, I would do everything I could to avoid including my second shooter, anyone that shouldn't be at the wedding in the wedding. But today it doesn't really matter. We need to give this guy off to the righty camera, because there's also, watch how like easily this photo comes together. This isn't even a photo that was staged. Like, she just turned her head and was sitting there while Hugo was sitting down. So you can really make great portraits anywhere as long as you're in good light. And also, I think it comes down to just being like, by this point in the day, you should have a pretty good rapport with everyone, that you can be 3 feet away from somebody that you've been with all day, and it will seem a lot more candid, especially if you're not struggling with gear all the time and changing lenses and making them second guess or doubt what you're doing. I think that's one of the best reasons to shoot a single prime lens like this. I maybe don't recommend it. It obviously takes a lot of time to figure out how to cover an entire wedding. Last week's wedding video was a wedding that I was solo at, and all I shot was the 85. So I'm happy to do it, but it definitely is a little bit of a learning curve, but it will push you outside of the bounds of your usual creation process, and make you create better work and figure out better processes to create that work whenever you're kind of put into a bit of a box. It's George just posing for the MC photos. All right, so we're going out front for some sunset photos right now, and the sun coming into the lobby is ridiculous. I love it a lot. So I'm just kind of getting what I can here. I'm not really trying to get anything too typical. I know Tim's going to get all those key shots. He's going to get, when we get outside, he's going to get like the long shot down the driveway. So I'm not really looking for that. I want to get something off to the side. So Tim off to the right there is getting like that long shot. I, on the other hand, am not. And I'm happy to kind of be off to the side. And I'm also using these guys to kind of vignette a little bit off the sides of the frame too, which I think is kind of interesting. It's almost like a little bit like street photography wise, that first one, which is definitely something different from my usual style of work. I think I had the best angle here with the sun kind of like perfectly right there. It would have been a challenge to compose something with kind of all the weird angles leading away from the scene in that spot. There's Hugo about to jump. Again, just like hanging out, getting our dress done, like fixed, and just like great portraits from 3 feet away, just candid and relaxed. Here's Tim's Dashboard Confessional album cover, Dusk and Summer. Screaming infidelities. I don't have many claims to fame, but I do believe that I was the first person in the world to ever attach a GoPro to an alcohol bottle at a destination wedding. Tesla invented a bunch of things. I did this first. You decide who's better.
Walk.
You already know who we are. Guactober's very own. I was thinking to myself, queso, it's what I want to talk about. Tomatoes, I need my guaxogen. Pesos, there's no money I won't spend. Pesos, to the chef of the day. Onions in the pan to saute. Nachos.
I'm gonna record you.
Come back tomorrow and watch the editing process. See you then. Almost forgot the advertisement for Patreon. I have been photographing over 60 weddings every single year for the past 10 years. But it was by no means an easy start. I felt like I had the photography side of things under control, but after the couple sent me the first inquiry email, usually they would just ghost and I would never hear from them again. I had no idea what I was doing wrong, but it turns out that I was actually doing a lot wrong. Over the next years, I had to figure out exactly what works to book more couples, and more importantly, the couples that I actually wanted to be shooting weddings for at a price point that I was happy with. So here's the deal with Patreon. It is all my business and marketing videos for wedding photographers. Right now, there is well over $3,000 worth of content that you have instant access to as soon as you sign up. Everything from my Lightroom presets that I actually use every single day, to my contract, to my initial inquiry scripts, a full walkthrough of my pricing document, a live meeting with a real couple, a how to book more destination weddings course, as well as bonus on-camera wedding days, a full financial breakdown of my entire wedding photography business, as well as a breakdown of where I get all of my referrals from and how you can start getting more. Plus, you'll also be getting access to our members only Facebook group. For all of the already existing content, plus the new weekly content, every Monday I'm making a new video, every Wednesday we're doing a podcast, I'm asking you just to buy me lunch once per month. It is by far the best value in wedding photography education anywhere out there on the internet. You can cancel at any time, and if you join and you're not absolutely blown away with all the content, send me an email, I'll send you $20 back, full 100% money back guarantee. Wedding photography is such an oversaturated industry. By buying me lunch once per month, I'll teach you every single thing that I've learned over an incredibly successful career. I'm Taylor Jackson, and I hope to see you inside.